All right.
But
Let's
I
see.
just joined.
You did? All
Yes.
right.
Here
Let's
we go.
see,
Request
Kim.
to
I'm
join.
sending the
Here
invitation
we go.
again.
Okay, can you see that?
Let me see.
I just requested.
Accepting. Are you there? Hello, hello. I'm accepting her invitation, but I'm probably gonna go to hers. But I want her to go to mine. Hello, everybody. Let's wait until more people come to start to the meat of all this. I'm sending the invitation to our dearest Kim.
I don't know why the invitation is not. Where do I go to get it?
Not notifications, perhaps.
Yeah, I thought that's where I would go, but it's not.
I have that issue several times. I don't know why. There
Maybe
you go.
it's just
I
being
send it to you.
slow.
So all our friends are gonna start coming in, and we're gonna have a great conversation about title and
Yes,
what to do. Okay, let me see if I can do
I'm
this.
so excited about this. I
It's
love
very
to talk about real estate. I'm so obsessed with real.
it's really very good to do that. Nothing with Instagram just yet.
Mm-mm. So
Okay.
is it so it's Kim Hollingshead ESQ. Can you see me?
Yeah, I can see you. I put you as a moderator before, but now
I really.
I inviting
Oh,
you.
there we go. I clicked it.
Are you
Go
in?
live. I'm on.
Woo! Yes, 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 yes. We are in.
Okay, good.
Okay, let me go.
Can you hear me okay on Instagram?
I can hear you okay on Instagram.
Can you hear me?
I do.
Okay, good.
I do. Okay. So thank you very much for accepting this invitation. A little bit of feedback. Um, I'm really glad you're here with us.
Thank you for having
And I know you have plenty of knowledge when it comes to title. So I really appreciate everything you can share with us today. I'm going
me.
to
Thank
put
you so much.
my volume down. Can you please put yours too, just in case?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. So, can you please tell us a little bit about you, about your business in real estate, how you got there?
Yes. So I started out in title when I graduated from David Lipscomb University. And I was just fresh out of college and I didn't know anything. I just knew I wanted to work for a lawyer. So I just picked up the phone book and I just started calling law offices and I was like, hey, do you need help? I would love to answer the phones. I really want to work for a lawyer one day. And I ran across this attorney, Jim Vanderpool, who I'm still good friends with today. And Jim said, I really love the way you just picked up the phone and called me. That doesn't happen all the time. And I'm just
That's what you do in
I
real
had no
estate, right?
idea. I thought that that's how you got a job. I didn't know. So he just hired me on the spot. And then ever since that's how I got into title, and have been working in title companies. I've done pretty much every single position in a title company. So when I when I went to law school, I went with the knowing that when I came out, this is what I was going to do. I was very intentional about that. And when I graduated from law school, I started a title company, Touchstone Title. We grew it to be a top 20 title company across 3 different states. And yeah, that was kind of my foray in. I've handled since then. Worked for an international real estate company. I have as corporate counsel. I've represented lenders in large commercial lending transactions, and now my practice is really a 360 real estate law practice. There's really nothing that comes across our desk that we're not going to be able to handle. I haven't said no in a really long time. So we can pretty much help anyone.
What is there anything in particular that made you so passionate about this? If you could describe it, because I know it's a lot.
You know, I really believe in the American dream. I believe in every single person owning a piece of real estate. That is not a reality for a lot of people. Most people in the world will never own a home. They'll never have that security of knowing that where they lay their head at night is theirs, that they'll never know what it's like to offer their children that security of you're always going to live here as long as we feel like it. And then the financial nest egg that owning a home provides as well. And I think it comes from number one, being a military kid and moving around a lot. So I have firsthand experience and knowledge and understanding of what that means to have that kind of stability, because I didn't have it as a kid. And then also my mom's Korean. And so, just knowing, like, coming from a different country, and my mom, I'm a first generation on my mom's side here. And just having that reality of understanding that not everyone in the world operates under the same values and rules as Americans do. For us, it's so normal and natural. And for people coming from other countries, buying a home is a really special, unique process. And I just love helping people through it.
I know that I'm testify for that. I know your passion. I want to please educate us all about why is that title is important and who do we do title with is important. Why is that even a thing?
Yeah, I think it's really important because, real estate encompasses a wide variety. What I say is look around. There is no aspect of your life that real estate does not touch. Every time you just drive down the street, it is the atmosphere in which we live our lives. It contributes to every moment of every day. So that means that there's commercial, residential, leasing, owning, new construction, existing construction, right? There are so many different categories. It's really important that people across all different price points and in every single category know that the person who is representing them through that transaction, that they can trust and that values them and values their business. And we operate by a standard set of principles that we apply to everyone equally. No matter how big or how small the transaction. I think that is so important.
So now, what is the one of the things that you do, and that's why I trust the people I work with and to defend my clients, is to understand who is the owner of what, right? So part of, if I have this Apple here or this microphone, that not necessarily means that I own it.
That's right.
So having the property and putting it for sale not necessarily mean that you are the owner of that property. So that how that works.
Yes.
I wanna make all of us understand why it's so important that you have a good title company.
Yeah, it really is. So the only person who can tell you who owns a piece of real estate is an attorney. It is not like a car. A car is registered with the county. So really the county clerk is telling you who's the owner of that car and what liens are on that vehicle. Real estate is in a totally separate category. It is protected by the First Amendment. It is treated like a different separate category of of property aside from personal property. There is real property, and then there's everything else. And because of that, the rules for real property are very, very, very old. And they go all the way back to like old England, like medieval England. And, back then there wasn't this structure that we have today. It's kind of like doing searching land records and researching titles, really more like genealogy searching than it is just going and looking up an owner online. We have to search the legal descriptions, the owners themselves. We run what's called a grantor grantee search, where we are searching title, from today all the way into the past, and then from the past all the way back forwards. It's a really complicated, for most people, boring process. Yeah. And so we don't recommend, anyone trying to do this on your own. It requires a very special skill set. And so, your title insurance company and your title attorney should be able to assist you with that. Just whoever you see listed as the owner on the tax records, that does not necessarily mean that that is the owner of the real estate.
Can you please give us an example of that, which I have seen several times, sadly enough?
Yeah, I have a really great example. So let's say husband and wife, they own property together and they own it as a tenancy by the entirety, which means that both the husband and the wife each own 100% of the title and they own 100% together. It's like a total 100% joint ownership. It is very, very unique and special type of way to own real estate. And let's say that, and so when one of them dies, then title passes by operation of law, meaning that the title to the property passes at the moment of death. Nothing has to be filed, nothing has to be recorded or registered anywhere. It just happens, and it is. And the way we document that is with a death certificate. So you would not see that like referenced in the tax record or on the last deed. We would have to do our own determination and examination to determine that both parties are alive. And determining that one of them is deceased, we would then say, oh, well, title is vested in her name only because he died, right? So that's a really great example of how that works.
Exactly. And what happened in Tennessee when you don't have any trust and you have kids and then someone or both pass away?
Yeah.
And what is the situation there? Can you please give us a hand and explain to us what are the possibility situations and the encumbrances, etc.?
Yes. So this is very common for people who own real estate and they're coming from another country because, like I said, there's different values, different strokes for different folks around the world. No judgment. I love the variety of all the different kinds of people on the planet. But they come from other countries. They come here and they do not believe that the wife should own real estate. They only want it in the husband's name. This is common. Okay. And so they come here, the husband buys the property in his name only. This is a real situation that happened to my clients. I was not the title attorney that handled the original purchase, but I ended up trying to help them and I did help them through the sale. But the husband passed away, unfortunately. And because Tennessee has what's called a spousal share, but the title to the real estate passes according to the intestacy statutes, they had 3 children. And those 3 children were each a 25% owner of that house. And the mom, the wife, was a 25% owner. See, that's a huge misconception. People think that title just passes to your wife automatically. It does not unless you specifically say that survivorship is included in the vesting. And that's not always the case. Most title companies do not have attorneys at the helm. So they are not able to really.
I use only with attorneys at home.
Only.
Okay.
Yes,
Because of my clients, I have to protect them.
Yeah, Selva, it's so important that you close with an attorney. And for this reason, because the last title company was not an attorney, they just wrote the deed up the way that, she suggested. So then the extra problem is that one of the children was a minor. So now it's not even just a matter of one of the, the 3 daughters quit claiming it to the mom, but now you have to set up a conservator or a guardianship, a conservatorship to try to go to court to get someone to represent the child.
Right?
It's a whole can of worms.
And we are assuming that those kids are those mom and dad kids. But what happened when there is a previous or after marriage where there is other kids in the story?
Yeah, I've got one now where the husband and wife got married. The children are not hers, but they're his from a previous marriage. And so when he died, there was not survivorship listed in the vesting. So the house goes to the children and to the wife with a spousal share. And the children are not cooperating because there's 5 of them and they do not like her. They don't care for her and they're not cooperating to help her. So we're trying to file a title claim and to see what we can do to assist this poor woman. But really, at the end of the day, it's probably going to come down to partition, meaning that we're going to have to pay these 5 children for their, 1/5 of a 1/2 share.
So if you had that sale, right? If I said, okay, here, Kim, I have these clients, let's close. What would you have done in order to prevent all this long story of nightmares for this family?
Yes. Well, we do this actually at my firm. We have a very extremely strict policy about this. And everybody who works for me, they know why and they know exactly how they have to handle it. We have very extensive conversations with people about vesting. We go through and they sign off to say, yes, we understand. They're disclosed everything, that they understand exactly what the difference is between tenancy in common and tenancy in common with rights or survivorship, what the ramifications of those decisions are. This does not happen to my clients. I mean, it would be a very, very fluke, rare thing that anybody would close with me and not have title vested properly. But that's what I consider to be the duty of care that I owe to
That's
my clients.
why it's important to close with a good title company. Talk a little bit about encumbrances and what they
Oh,
are, etc.
yeah. So encumbrances can be anything like like you mean like on a boundary, like an encumbrance
Correct.
so
Like if
there
we have a house here, that you know how it is in Tennessee, where we have a lot of land, and then this land cannot enter the car but through this side, but then the other part was partitioned in some way, etc. Please
yes.
explain to our clients how can that hurt them, or how can we manage that in the best possible way.
Yeah, so definitely when you're working with land, anything I would say over an acre, you really need to
Or
work.
I'm sorry, I was actually talking about of course for land too, but I was imagining this little house that has a land, the neighbor, but my client is the house, and it enters through the neighbor's
Yes,
land or something like
yes,
that.
yes, because anything outside, and that's why I mentioned about acreage, because anything outside of a subdivision is really something that you need to be very careful about when you're buying any kind of property, because it's like what you're saying. There can be sewer easements, there could be driveway easements. You don't realize it, but this neighbor and that neighbor share the driveway, and they've just kind of said that they're going to do it this way 20 years ago. There's nothing in writing. Um, that we those are the types of considerations that you need to take into account. Maybe the neighbor's barn is encroaching on your land, right? And all of that can be disclosed with a survey. Surveys are not required, but I highly recommend them if you have even a question, even if you're in a subdivision. I actually had a client who recently purchased a home. They were buying in a subdivision. I'm not going to name which one, but it's a really, really nice subdivision, multi-million-dollar homes in here. And the HOA pointed out where they thought that the boundary line was, and turned out that the HOA was wrong, that that's not where the edge of the property was. And you would not be able to tell just by doing a visual inspection of the property where that line was. And it turned out that it shaved off like a quarter of an acre from their parcel that they thought that they were purchasing. A survey would have prevented that. A survey would have revealed exactly where. So, I think that if it's your biggest purchase, take the time to do those inspections. And the issue is that of course, your realtor is not responsible for making those kinds of inspections for you. See, people want to fall back on the real estate agent and say, well, she should have told me that. That's not, that's not, it's all disclosed in that buyer representation. Where the representation begins and ends is very clear. And as a buyer, you've got to do your own due diligence. Now, that's where your title attorney can come in handy, because where the representation of your real estate agent ends is really where your attorney picks up. So you can give me a call, ask me to take a look at it. We'll review it and advise you on whether or not you need a survey. We can help you out with those types of things.
Do you have any recommendations for buyers, other than, of course, use a great title company like yours, in regards of new constructions and in general real estate and title related?
Yes. So my recommendations to buyers would be, number one, don't just go with a real estate agent that you were referred to, who's your cousin's best friend's mom. Interview a couple, go with someone who does this all day, every day, and it is their real job. Because the difference between closing 2 a year and closing 20 a year, it's a huge difference in terms of the caliber of that agent.
Yes.
And
The
your
day-to-day
real
things are important. And,
estate,
in my case, the language barriers are just.
yes. I mean, yes. And of course, someone who works with the community is very important as well. But those are the things that I would say, number one, like that's a huge thing. If you've got someone like Selva who's marketing all day, everything she does all day is real estate. This is someone who's really obsessed with real estate and loves it, all aspects of it, and really does it to help people, and is really in it, right? And so the training is there, the continuing education is there, the skill set, the number of transactions, the knowledge, the expertise, all of that is there. Whereas if you go with someone who's been doing it a year or 2 years, maybe not, maybe not. I'm not saying not, but maybe not. And the other thing I would say is always work with a loan officer first. Work local, use a Tennessee loan officer, first of all. Please don't just ride a rocket, if you know what I'm saying. But
You're touching on my bottoms. I'm here like.
Yes, it's gonna be a bumpy ride. But use a Tennessee loan officer, use someone local, because the fees are local here in this state, and so they vary widely from state to state. And you can receive a estimate from a loan officer out of state, or a 1-800 number, and that loan estimate is going to be nowhere close to correct. All right, these guys are here, they're local, and the realtors in this local market hold them accountable to their word. And believe me, there's no one more ruthless than a real estate agent who feels like their client has been wronged. They will let everybody know, right? They hold people accountable. You know why? Because their clients hold them accountable. So they're going to make sure that everyone's doing their job. And that's one of the things I love about real estate. I love that about this industry.
The passion that brings in us too. It's like my clients are, in a good way, in no pejorative, but it's like my kid. I mean, just don't touch them in the wrong way, because I am the tiger that's going to be hurt.
That is so true. That's exactly it. That's the vibe, Selva, is what I'm saying. It's like they're like their babies. Like, don't hurt my client. And it's so true. And so use a Tennessee loan officer. The fees are great. The rates are competitive. There's no reason not to. And then the third thing I would say is delve into your numbers really, really deeply. Don't just go with the interest rate that's online, the interest rate that's been quoted. Your real estate agent can negotiate better terms for you. They can get that payment lower, or they can put you in a bigger house than you expected, or they can get you in a neighborhood you thought you would never be able to afford. Real estate agents know a lot about off-market listings you cannot find online yourself. They will just smile and dial 15 real estate agents, say, hey, do you know anything? And sometimes somebody does, and so that's really the value of having a great, strong real estate agent and a strong loan officer, is because they are really the marriage of those two. It's so important. They're your dream
The
team.
relationship we have, and we're not just a silo. We just talk to people, and we know people. We talk to them. We're friends between each other. And we have resources like you, and like many great professionals that also, sustain and help us out to be every day better and better. I'm extremely thankful to everything you have done today. I'm going to take just 1 minute for you to tell us, what do you think about people should buy if they are ready? They should buy today, or they should wait until January, February?
Girl, don't get this.
Look, I had to ask you.
Yeah, I love it. First of all, if you're renting, I don't care. Buy anytime. It's always a good time to buy when you're renting. It's 100% interest that you're paying when you rent a home. You're paying someone else's mortgage for them. It's money down the drain. You never get it back. You have to pay the money every single month, regardless of whether you own the house or you're renting. So you might as well just own it and pay yourself. When you first buy a house, the first few years, it's almost all interest that you're paying. That is tax deductible. Okay. It comes off your income taxes. It's not like it's money that gets burned up. There are a lot of other benefits to owning a home, aside from just, you don't get with renting, right? Aside from the security and the stability and the, having a place to lay your head at night and you owning it. Aside from that, financially, there are some amazing benefits to it. But like I said, so I kind of talked about this earlier today in a video that I posted, which was, that, you know, you can have someone who thinks that all they can afford is $330,000 for a house. That's all my payment's going to allow me to afford. But working with the right real estate agent and loan officer and using the seller incentives and buying down the rate with discount points, it's a 30-year fixed rate. We're not talking about like a 2-1 buy down, but an actual discounting the loan. You could afford go from $330,000 to $450,000. True story, actually happens. Lenders are out there offering rates, or builders in the
We have
fours.
leverage. We have negotiation leverage today.
Yeah. And they predict, so the National Association of Realtors and the National Mortgage Bankers Association, both organizations, their economic advisors and chief economists both say that 2025 is going to be the biggest real estate market this country has ever seen, because rates will come down enough that it's going to push all the buyers that are on the fence right now. And there are a lot of people who need to move. They're choosing not to move. And that year, when the rates are expected to come down solidly in the 5s, and maybe in the low 5s, that the inventory is going to fly off the shelves. You're going back into multiple offers. You're talking about prices are going to skyrocket again. You're not going to be able to find a deal. It's going to happen super fast. And so you're not going to be able to find a deal, and you're going to miss out on that boat, you know, of buying the house and then earning all that equity
loss too. Not only all this time that you have lost, not only all the money that you kind of have to pay more, not only it's going to be harder because also the inflation doesn't help you enough to save a bunch of money, but the equity, I mean, I'm seeing crazy numbers in the equity still.
Yes,
you know, it's
are.
slower
Prices are
than
not
the
going
19,
down.
20 that we saw, but we are seeing equity important numbers. So that's your family. And me, like a Latin Hispanic lady, I really need my people to empower themselves. And that's why I empower myself with people like you. And thank you so much. Please tell us, everybody, how to find you. Please tell us where to locate you. Of course, you know, we are always trying to close with the best and include you. I have one of my listing guys that can close just with Kim. I mean, you can close with whatever you want, but it would be much better for you if you do that.
Yes.
And then tell us, please, about your contact information.
Yeah, so you can reach me on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, TikTok. My website is listed, and it's in the bio of all those pages. Call the office to get a hold of me. They'll put you directly in touch with me if you need anything at all. We do real estate law, closings, title insurance, represent buyers, sellers, commercial transactions, and residential. We can assist you. There's really nothing in real estate that we are not going to be able to assist you with. If I don't have the answer, I know I can find somebody who does.
That's what we do. Thank you. A big hug to you. It's always a great pleasure. Thank you very much for coming to my house tonight. And until the next time.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody, for being with us.
You're amazing. Thank you.
Bye.